For 5 years, I took my family on luxury vacations. You deserve a break, they'd say, and then they sent me to a fake hotel while they relaxed in the real one. So I called the manager and had them escorted out. Have you ever had one of those moments where everything clicks? Not in a good way, but in that slow-motion stomach punch that makes you realize how stupid you've been. Yeah, that was me, standing in front of a dilapidated hostel in the middle of nowhere, with a reservation that didn't exist, while my family sipped cocktails on the rooftop of a five-star hotel 5 blocks away. And worst of all, I paid for both. Sir, we don't have a reservation under that name," the receptionist repeated, clearly trying not to laugh. This place hasn't taken online bookings for over 2 years. I blinked. I looked back at my phone, checked the email my sister, Camila, had forwarded me with the hotel name, the address, the confirmation number. Only now it all looked suspiciously fake, like something a 12-year-old could whip up in 5 minutes with Photoshop. I didn't yell. I didn't throw my phone. I simply walked out, past the flickering sign that read Hostal Costa Blanca, an ironic name if ever there was one, and called my sister. She answered on the first ring. "Oh, hi. Were you able to check in okay?" she said cheerfully, as if she hadn't just pulled off the most psychopathic scam of the year. "No," I replied, cold as ice. "Turns out, the hotel doesn't exist." Funny, isn't it? A pause. Just a second. Then, "That's weird. Maybe it's under a different name?" Sometimes hotels change their names. "Cut the theatrics, Camila." Silence. I continued, each word like a razor blade. "You sent me to a fake hotel with a fake reservation while you're lounging at the Mirador del Mar, sipping mojitos on my dime. I don't know what you're talking about. It's not fair." Fair. I laughed with hollow bitterness. I paid for 5 years of these family vacations. You said I needed a break, that I was working too hard, and now suddenly I'm not invited to the real hotel? Did you think I wouldn't notice? "Look," she responded, the fake sweetness vanishing like melting makeup. "We just thought it would be easier if you had your own space this time. You've been so tense lately." And then I understood. They'd planned it, probably for months, smiling in my face while they phased me out, as if I were nothing more than a walking credit card. The kind one. The generous one. The fool. I hung up. I walked 5 blocks to the real hotel. I went to the front desk and said just 4 words, "Call your manager." Now, it all started, as it always did, with guilt. "You've been working so hard. You deserve a break," Mom used to tell me, pouring herself another glass of wine while sending me screenshots of 5-star resorts. "You need to relax, take care of yourself. We'll all go together as a family like the old days." Except there were never any such old days. Not really. As a kid, I was the forgotten one, the middle child with decent grades and a quiet mouth. My sister, Camila, was the loud blonde, the center of attention, cheerleading captain, drama club, everyone's golden girl. My brother, Bruno, was the laid-back rebel who bought a motorcycle at 17 and crashed it the same week. And me? I stayed out of trouble, paid my way through college, got a job in finance. I never caused waves, and for that very reason, they saw me as useful. The first time I paid for a vacation was when Mom lost her job. I was 27. She cried on the phone, saying she and Dad hadn't taken a trip in years and that Camila was having a terrible time after a breakup, and wouldn't it be nice if we all went away for a week together? I caved. I booked a beach villa, covered everything: flights, rental car, private chef, the whole shebang. I told myself I was doing it for them, that seeing them happy would be enough. It wasn't. Not even close. From the moment we landed, they treated me like hired help. "Can you pay for the drinks?" I forgot my card. "We should do the dolphin tour. You have that bonus, right?" "Wow, this resort is amazing. You must be earning really well. We're so proud of you." But not proud enough to pay their own way. Still, I smiled, I nodded, I laughed at their jokes, even when Camila called me Daddy Wallet in front of the waiter. I should have stopped there. But I didn't. I kept paying, year after year, trip after trip. They got bolder. One summer it was Italy, the next the Canary Islands. When Camila got married the first time, they asked if I could gift them a honeymoon extension, just an extra week in Menorca, and I said yes. I always said yes. My parents played their part too. Dad barely said anything, just grunted in approval when the vacation confirmation emails arrived. Mom knew how to manipulate me, guilt-tripping me with a soft voice and a tired smile. It's not about the money, she'd say. It's about keeping the family together. Together? What a joke! On every trip, I felt myself being silently excluded. Camila always picked the rooms. Bruno made the music playlists. I paid for everything, but somehow I was always left out of the planning, and increasingly out of the fun, too. They go to group dinners without telling me, post pictures with captions like family time while I ate leftovers in my room. Still, I stayed quiet. Until last year. Something shifted. We were in Mallorca. I'd paid for a suite big enough to house a small wedding party, but one night, coming back from a solitary swim, I discovered my name wasn't on the dinner reservation. We didn't think you'd want to come, Camila said without looking up from her phone. I paid for it. Oh, please. You always act like you're not interested in these things. It's just dinner. But it wasn't just dinner. It was a pattern. I was the outsider, the one who covered the costs. I remember sitting on the edge of the bed that night, staring out at the resort lights and wondering what I was doing. That was the first time I thought, maybe I should stop. But they pulled me back in. Camila called me in March of this year. She was in her yoga and manifesting phase and said we needed another reconnection trip, some deep bonding. That she would plan everything like the old days. Just send me your card, she chirped. I'll handle all the logistics. Trust me. And like an idiot, I did. 11,372 euros. That was the total. Flights, rooms, activities, spa treatments. I wired it all over and told myself I was being generous, helpful, a good brother. But this time, something fell off. She avoided my questions about the itinerary, sent me the hotel information ridiculously late, said I'd be staying in a different wing of the resort due to availability issues. And when I landed, there was no driver. No reservation in my name. No real reservation at all. Just a confirmation email from a made-up website and a hotel that hadn't housed guests since 2021. They'd sent me to a fake hotel. After 5 years of paying for their vacations, they'd thrown me away like trash. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a setup. And it made sense. They wanted the vacation, but not me. I was just an accessory, a wallet with legs. And this time, they didn't even want to pretend. So I called Camila. I heard her voice, heard the lie coiling around her tongue like poison, and for once, I didn't swallow it. That's why I walked straight into the Mirador Del Mar, asked to speak to the manager, and handed him every receipt, every name, every fake email she'd used to cover her tracks. And I waited. I waited while the concierge frowned, while he made a couple of discreet calls, while hotel security gathered silently by the elevator. And I sat there, sipping the complimentary sparkling water they offered, while they escorted my entire family out of paradise. I didn't expect the manager to do anything, honestly. I just wanted someone, anyone, to acknowledge how brutally I'd been betrayed. But apparently, 5-star hotels don't tolerate identity games or third-party fraud, especially when the person who funded the entire group booking shows up with proof that he was sent to sleep next to a cockroach-infested hostel. The manager reviewed the emails, compared the real reservation Camila had made in her name using my card, called the head office. Then, he gave me a smile so cold it ran down my spine like a shiver. "Would you like us to handle this discreetly, Mr. Moreno?" he asked. I shook my head. No. Do it loudly. I was sitting at the hotel bar, nursing an old-fashioned, when it happened. A pair of security guards approached the rooftop cabanas like it was a crime scene. Camila was sprawled on a sun lounger in a white bikini, a drink in one hand, her phone in the other. Mom was floating in the infinity pool. Dad was dozing in the shade. Bruno and his girlfriend were taking selfies by the glass railing. Then came the words I'd been waiting for. "Excuse me, ma'am. We need to speak with you about your reservation." Camila blinked, adjusted her sunglasses, and laughed, as if they'd just asked for a picture. "Sorry, we're a bit busy. Can it wait?" "No, ma'am. You need to come with us right now." The entire pool deck went silent. Mom sat up in the water, squinting. "Is there a problem?" "Yes," the manager said, appearing beside the guards. "A very serious one." That's when Camila saw me. I raised my glass in her direction. I smiled. Her face transformed. "You. What have you done?" "Hi, sis," I said sweetly. "You booked me a fake hotel. I thought I'd return the favor." "What are you talking about?" she snapped, now on her feet, dripping in sarcasm and sunscreen. "This is a misunderstanding. You said you didn't want to stay with us." "No," I replied. "I said I was paying for a family vacation, not to be tricked into sleeping in a dump while you sunbathed with my money." "I didn't trick you." I pulled out my phone, pressed play. Camila's voice boomed through the speakers, our earlier call replaying. "We just thought it would be easier if you had your own space." "You've been so tense lately." There were gasps. One of the guests even let out a boo. Bruno froze. Mom shook her head, still in the water, whispering, "No, no, no." Camila lunged at me. "You had no right to record me. You had no right to steal from me." "I didn't steal anything. Seriously, because you booked a hotel in your name, using my card, lied about it, and left me stranded 5 blocks away like a charity case." The manager stepped in. "Mr. Moreno has provided evidence that the reservation was made fraudulently. I'm afraid we'll have to ask all guests associated with this reservation to vacate the premises immediately." "What?" Mom shrieked. "They're kicking us out?" Camila looked like she was about to explode. "You're enjoying this, aren't you?" "Yes," I replied without blinking. "Thoroughly." "You're disgusting," she spat. "After everything we've done for you, oh, please," I cut her off. "You haven't done anything for me. You used me. You needed a wallet with a last name, and I was stupid enough to volunteer." "You're overreacting." Dad finally chimed in, raising his voice. "This isn't what a family does." "Exactly," I said. "A family doesn't lie. A family doesn't exclude. A family doesn't pretend to love you for 5 years just to book you a fake hotel like a stray dog." He tried to say something else, but the guards were already helping them gather their things. Camila shrieked as they touched her suitcase. "I paid for this vacation." "No," I said. "I did. And it's over." She stared at me as if I'd just ripped out her heart. "I hope you're happy," she spat. "I'm free," I said. "Which is better?" 10 minutes later, I watched them walk out the front doors of the Mirador del Mar humiliated, disoriented, dragging their expensive luggage and their shredded pride behind them. The best part? The hotel let me stay. They offered me the room for free, even upgraded me. Turns out, when you expose grifters with their own money, people notice. Camila tried to text me that night. "Camila, you made your point. Now undo it." "Camila, Mom is actually crying. Are you okay with that?" "Camila, you are unbelievable." "In the worst way." I didn't reply. But I did post a picture in the family group chat in the rooftop pool, the sunset behind me. Caption: "Vacation's just getting started." For the first time in years, I slept like a king. Not just because the bed in my upgraded Mirador del Mar suite felt like it was made of clouds and whispered apologies, but because of the silence. The absence of their voices, their demands, their fake laughter. It was the most peaceful thing I'd ever heard. They were gone. Security escorted them out like a band of cheap criminals. I stayed. I ate all the prepaid meals for the rest of the week. I used their spa appointments. I drank their champagne. Every time I walked past a couple getting a massage or someone lounging in a robe by the pool, I thought of Camila screaming as they dragged her out of the hotel, and I smiled. But what I didn't expect was the aftermath. At first it was mild missed calls from Mom, then Dad, then Camila. And then came the heavy artillery, a group voice message. They must have all been in the same room because it sounded like a sad parody of a hostage video. "We just want to understand what happened," Mom said, her voice trembling. "You didn't have to humiliate us like that," Camila cut in, trying to cry but not quite remembering how. "We're family," Dad finished flatly. "This isn't what we do." I didn't even listen to the rest. I deleted it. But what I did next even surprised me. I sent them a group text. "Next time you want me to pay for your vacation, at least pretend I'm invited." Oh wait, there won't be a next time. Block, block, block. I left the hotel 2 days later, relaxed and exhilarated with pure, unadulterated vengeance. When I got home, I made one final decision. I transferred my savings, every cent of the family emergency fund I'd stupidly kept open, to my personal account, and canceled the shared credit card Camila had been using for years. It felt like closing the door on a house I no longer lived in. And then, something strange happened. People started texting me. Cousins, friends of friends, even my aunt from Galicia, who I hadn't heard from since I was 12. "You did the right thing," one cousin texted. "I always felt like they never gave you the respect you deserved," said someone else. "It's about time someone put Camila in her place." Turns out, my family's golden children weren't so golden to everyone else. Many had watched silently as I paid for everything and received nothing in return, and now they were cheering me on from the sidelines. But then came the message that changed everything. It was from a number I didn't recognize. "Hi. You don't know me, but I think we should talk. I'm Daniela. I'm Camila's daughter." I stared at the screen for a full minute. What? Camila didn't have kids. At least, she wasn't supposed to. She always said she wasn't the maternal type, that she couldn't imagine ruining her body for a baby. But the message continued. "She gave me up for adoption 19 years ago. I just found out who she is, and I found you. I think you're my uncle." My breath caught. It didn't make sense. Or maybe it did. Camila disappeared for a semester when she was 19. Told everyone she was studying abroad. I remember Mom being weirdly secretive about it. Dad wouldn't even say what country she went to. It was all a lie. All of it. I replied, "Where are you?" She was real. And she wasn't coming around for money or drama. She just wanted to know who she was. We agreed to meet for coffee. She looked like Camila. Same sharp cheekbones, same hazel eyes. But there was something softer about her, kinder. "I don't want anything," Daniela said, clutching her mug. "I just needed to understand where I came from, and I thought maybe you could help." For the first time in years, I felt like I was having a conversation with someone in my family that didn't involve guilt or manipulation. I told her everything about Camila, about the fake hotel, the vacations, the betrayal. She didn't defend her. Instead, she said, "You deserved better. And I'm sorry you didn't get it." We sat in silence for a while after that, just breathing. Then Daniela pulled something out of her bag. A box. She slid it across the table. "What's this?" I asked. "My adoptive father passed away recently. He was a lawyer, and he kept this. He thought maybe someday I might need it." I opened it. Inside was a folder. Documents. Legal papers. And then a handwritten note from my grandmother, the one who died 5 years ago. The one Camila always tried to keep close. The one who secretly sent me birthday cards with $20 and the phrase, "For my quiet favorite." The letter was short. "If you're reading this, it means Camila's lies have gone too far. The truth always comes out. Everything I had, the inheritance, the house, the land, goes to Mateo. Because he's the only one who never asked for anything. He only gave." I stared at the words, my hands shaking. "It's real," I whispered. Daniela nodded. "Camila fought this hard. She told my father you would never show up to claim it, that she'd handle it. He didn't trust her. So he kept it safe." I couldn't believe it. While I paid for their flights and massages, Camila hid my inheritance and actively tried to keep it hidden. I looked at Daniela. Why are you giving me this? She shrugged, smiling. Because it's yours. And in that moment, the last piece of the puzzle clicked into place. They hadn't just used me. They'd robbed me. And now it was my turn. 2 weeks later, I was in the same lawyer's office where Camila had lied through her perfectly white teeth. This time, the appointment was mine. Daniela sat beside me as Mr. Herrera, her late father's partner, handed me the full breakdown. My grandmother's estate was considerable: a house in the Sierra de Valencia, 2 undeclared investment accounts, and a substantial inheritance she had specifically earmarked for me. Estimated value, 2.3 million euros. And it had all been intentionally concealed. Your sister, the lawyer said, not even trying to hide the contempt in his voice, used false statements to convince the probate court that you had relinquished your share. She forged your signature. She even filed an affidavit claiming you were mentally unstable and incapable of managing your finances. I clenched my jaw so tight I felt a crack. Camila hadn't just faked a hotel reservation. She'd tried to erase me from the family legacy. Can we take legal action against her? I asked. Mr. Herrera smiled. We already have. 2 days later, she was served. Fraud, forgery, financial abuse, civil damages. But that was just the warm-up. Then came the forensic audit. Every charge on my shared credit card, every transaction linked to vacations, family expenses, dinners I wasn't invited to, spa visits I never booked, every time they'd used my name, my money, my silence became evidence. And the number grew fast. 186,904 euros and 11 cents. I made sure the lawsuit included my parents and Bruno. Because they knew. Maybe they hadn't signed the documents, but they clearly had no problem spending the money. They tried to deny it at first. They tried to blame me. We're your parents. Mom cried on a Zoom call. This is humiliating. No, I replied. What you did was humiliating. This is justice. Dad used his old trick, calm voice, disappointed tone. Do you really want to see your own family? You're not my family, I said. You're just a group of adults who treated me like a debit card. Then I sent them screenshots. Every euro I'd spent, over all those years, itemized, dated, categorized. I even included the receipts from the fake hotel. And the cherry on top? A copy of Grandma's letter. You could hear the oxygen leave the call. Camila was the first to break. I can't pay that, she whispered. I don't have that kind of money. Then sell the handbags. The shoes. The lies. She hung up. But reality doesn't end when you hang up the phone. By the end of the month, my lawyer had frozen their joint accounts. Camila's car was repossessed. Bruno had to sell his apartment. My parents refinanced the house. They called it cruelty. I called it reimbursement. And then, one by one, the apologies started rolling in. Not sincere ones, of course. Not "we were wrong" or "we used you," but things like, "Can we talk this through? Do you really want to destroy your family over money? We're hurting." That wasn't enough punishment. No, it wasn't. Because I hurt too. I hurt while they sipped prawn cocktails and laughed behind my back. I hurt when they stayed in presidential suites and sent me to rot in a motel. I hurt alone. But now I was done hurting. They were the ones drowning, and I was finally breathing. I used some of the inheritance to buy a quiet cabin by a lake. No Wi-Fi, no drama, just peace. Daniela comes to visit sometimes. We drink coffee and talk about books, about life, and about that twisted poetry that says family can be the thing that saves you or the thing that destroys you, depending on who you let in. And one night, as we sat on the dock, watching the water shimmer under the moonlight, she asked me the question that had been hanging in the air for weeks. Do you ever regret taking it all back? I looked at her. I thought about it. And then I replied no, because it was never theirs to begin with. She smiled. Do you think they'll ever forgive you? I laughed. I hope not. Last message from Camila, sent a month after the legal settlement was finalized. You ruined everything. I hope it was worth it. My reply: it was. Every miserable cent.